losing ground and losing homes.
Largest fire we've ever seen.
Colorado firefighters are in an uphill battle against the elements to put out several wildfires growing closer to homes.
I'd like to be able to say we didn't lose any structures, but we did lose several.
Now evacuees watch and wait to find out if their home has been spared.
It's not the first time, but it won't be the last, and it's not easy.
Thanks for joining us on Denver7 News at 11. I'm Jessica Porter. Another day of warm, dry conditions fueling Colorado wildfires. Right now, we're closely watching 4 of those fires where evacuation orders are still in place. The largest fire in state history, the Cameron Peak fire burning west of Loveland and Fort Collins. The East Troublesome fire growing to nearly 13,000 acres in Grand County. And a pair of fires in Boulder County that have already destroyed dozens of homes. Denver7 has team coverage of our statewide fire danger. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is standing by with the forecast in these fire zones and the effects on our air quality. But let's begin with NICOLE, BRADY in Boulder County, where firefighters are gaining ground on the Left-Hand Canyon fire and the destructive Calwood fire.
Jessica, you might be able to see the smoky skies behind me. That's one of the problems we're dealing with here down below in Boulder County today and around the metro. The air quality is being affected by this smoke. I just got off the phone with the incident command for the Calwood fire, and they tell me that there was additional fuel burning off in the interior of the burn area today. That is causing this smoke. But the good news is weather conditions are actually going to be much more favorable today for fighting both the Calwood and Left-Hand Canyon fires. We know that right now those fires have grown just a bit from yesterday. The Calwood fire now at 9,300 acres with 17% containment. The Left-Hand Canyon fire has grown to 470 acres with 4% containment. Today, the winds are not going to be a huge problem. They're going to shift direction and turn the fire back on itself, essentially, where it won't have much left to burn. So firefighters are optimistic, but still remaining vigilant. One of the most important things they're doing right now is trying to make sure they get good information to people about their homes. Hundreds of people are still evacuated, wondering about the situation. While no new structures have been reported lost, people are obviously still worried.
It's just a lot of checking the news, checking the winds, making sure it didn't jump the canyon and head up to our house.
If God forbid I lose my house, would I rebuild? And I don't know the answer to that. If all the trees are gone and living in fear every year, every time there's a windstorm and there's lots of wind up here, if I would ever want to rebuild here.
For those who are wondering about a home in the fire zone, you can actually go to the Boulder OEM, Office of Emergency Management website, and enter an address if you want to see where that is in the evacuation area or the fire area, perhaps if you know someone up here. Another thing people have been asking about is their mail. Mail trucks haven't been able to get through some of the road closures. So if you're in Ward or Lyons or Jamestown and you haven't been getting some mail, you might want to check with the Netherland Post Office. It's being held there. Jessica will send it back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. The largest fire in state history continues to grow dangerously close to homes this morning. The Cameron Peak fire has been burning since August, and it is now larger than 205,000 acres. After a week of fierce winds, firefighters have lost some containment. Estimates are now around 51% containment, down from 62%. We know structures have been lost in this fire, but conditions are still too dangerous for inspectors to give us an accurate count. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is tracking those conditions. Lisa, another warm day, dry weather for firefighters, but relief is on the way.
Yeah, a lot of relief this weekend. It's going to be a really good sight for firefighters. Right now, though, we're still looking at winds coming in out of the west-northwest at about 20 to 40 miles per hour up and through the northern Front Range Mountains. Recent wind gusts there in near Estes Park at 32 miles per hour, close to 40 there in Broomfield, up along 36 and heading up into Boulder County. So we're still seeing a pretty breezy afternoon here setting up along the Front Range. As far as tonight into tomorrow, though, what Nicole was talking about with those winds shifting, you can see here on Futurecast how we get winds that come coming in from the northeast, helping to, again, push some of those flames back in on themselves. And the concern is going to be, though, when Wednesday into Thursday, those winds pick up again ahead of our next cold front. We'll be taking a closer look at that coming up. Right now, you're looking at, again, air quality advisories covering the northern front range. And so we are going to see still some hazy skies and quite a bit of smoke in through parts of Grand County this afternoon. Temperature-wise, low 70s here, 60s in the mountains. I'll show you that dramatic change and some really good news on the horizon for our firefighters. I'll show you just how cold it's going to get coming up here in a few minutes.
More than 1,500 firefighters are tackling the Cameron Peak fire today, and that includes several crews of volunteer firefighters working alongside the state crews. 15 members of the Glen Haven Fire Department are volunteering their time, working 14 hours a day. They say saving structures is their top priority.
And I saw multiple homes in the past 2 days where the fire was entirely surrounding the home. Everything was black, and the home was standing like nothing happened.
Glen Haven Fire Department is a self-funded agency, and they rely on fundraising to keep the department going. Right now, local restaurants are teaming up to help keep these firefighters fed while they protect homes near the Cameron Peak fire. And so many of you have reached out asking how you can help all of the victims of our wildfires. And that's why we're launching a new fundraising campaign through Denver7 Gives. You can head to the denverchannel.com, click Denver7 Gives, and then under the drop-down menu, click Help Colorado Wildfire Victims. All donations will go directly to help Colorado wildfire victims, and we are working with our community partners up and down the Front Range to ensure those who have lost so much get much-needed support. Turning now to the coronavirus pandemic as cases continue to rise here in Colorado. In the latest update from the state health department, testing confirmed 1,072 new daily cases. Even with the typical drop in testing over the weekend, the case count continues to climb. And you can see in our positivity rate, it is now well above the 5% threshold, with more than 6% of all tests coming back positive. And as cases increase, so do our hospitalizations. At least 465 coronavirus patients are getting hospital care for their symptoms. About 95% of all hospital beds are still open and ready if needed. And those numbers are exactly the reason schools in the metro are changing plans to bring students back for in-person learning. Aurora Public Schools is the latest district to announce a delay for older students. Denver7's Micah Smith has a look at the new plan for high school students.
High school staff members will continue working in person inside of school buildings Monday through Thursday in preparation for the eventual return to in-person learning. However, high schoolers will continue learning from home for the next few weeks. Back in July, the district's Board of Education voted to delay in-person learning for the first 8 weeks of the school year. But due to recent coronavirus numbers, they ultimately made the decision to delay in-person learning for high schools again. Preschool through 8th grade students returned to the classroom last week, but if the extension of remote learning for high schoolers is any indication of what's to come, elementary and middle school students could be headed back home very soon. Right now, the group of students are learning under a cohort model, with students divided up into 2 cohorts. Those cohorts alternate between 1 week of remote learning and 1 week of in-person learning. Superintendent Rico Munn says Thursday, October 22nd, is the deadline for making a decision on a learning model for middle and elementary school students. If it is decided that those students go to full remote learning, that would start on Monday, October 26th. Reporting in the newsroom, Micah Smith, Denver7.
Micah, thank you. Despite concern in some districts, thousands of other students will go back to school this week. Poudre School students in grades 3 through 12 start hybrid classes mixing in-person and remote learning. Tomorrow in Denver Public Schools, students in grades 2 through 5 will return to full in-person learning. And in the Boulder Valley School District, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are going back to in-person learning 4 days a week. Some elementary schools in the Boulder area won't hold classes at all because of the fire evacuation orders affecting those students. Jamestown Elementary in the Boulder Valley School District and Gold Hill Elementary in the Fort Mills District are both closed this week. If your child is a student, reach out to those schools for the latest on their learning plan. Colorado's workforce is slowly but surely building a rebound. The Colorado Department of Labor says our state added nearly 60,000 jobs to the economy in September. Last month also sent more than 63,000 people back to work, lowering the unemployment rate to 6.4%. but some counties have rates much higher, including Denver at 7.4%. Election Day is 2 weeks from today, and voters across the country are already shattering early voting records. In Colorado, more than 641,000 ballots have already been accepted. Across the country, more than 28 million Americans cast their ballots early. But candidates are still making their case that they're the best for the job. President Trump is stumping for votes in Pennsylvania today. And former President Obama will start campaigning for Biden this week, while the former vice president prepares for the next debate. The Debate Commission is working to make sure the final debate is more civil than the first. It announced it will cut the microphones of the candidate not answering a question from the moderator to prevent interruptions. You can watch Thursday's debate right here on Denver 7 and stay with us for a 360 report on the debate, including our Truth Be Told fact-checking. Don't forget, Denver 7 has an election guide with everything you need to know about voting in Colorado this year. We'll help you every step of the way, from registering to vote to tracking your ballot. Just click on the Election 2020 tab on thedenverchannel.com.